I think it's wide enough too right now that we have like the battle of the blue and the red.
Yeah.
That's one thing I noticed in the previous video, that when you uploaded it, that it was like a very clear, like blue versus red, like dynamic going on in the lighting. That's just red's my favorite color, so bam.
Red versus blue.
Did you ever watch that series?
Yes.
Oh, awesome.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I thought that was one of the most innovative styles, by taking actual gameplay and just scripting around what you can actually do with it and being clever with it.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious and definitely innovative for its time. But let's dive in so you don't have to edit too much of the front of the video out. All right. So we're back for another episode of the G-Spot. Glad you guys found it again. Or if you're here for the first time, welcome. What we do here is we break down films and entertainment TV shows, stuff that we enjoy or that you recommend. And then we kind of share our feedback, give it a review, and then also share some personal growth lessons that we've either, seen in it or talked about or related to. And so super excited to break down one that we all went to. My kids came, you brought Barbara, we all went and saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes last week. And so what do you think, Brother Brigg? Let's talk about it a little bit.
A lot of it I was bored.
Much to learn. Much to teach.
Yeah. A lot of the movie I was bored. I loved the scenes, the imagery, the graphics, all that stuff was really good. But for me, specifically, it felt drawn out and super slow. Yeah. I was expecting more action.
I usually base can this movie hold someone's attention pretty easily if the kids are in the room, right? So, I enjoy it. I enjoy the lore. I've been watching the originals with my dad way back when I was a young kid. And so, to be there and wanting to, make the connections and see where this falls in the timeline and all that, I'm engrossed into it. But then I also had all three of my kids there. And, my daughter, 7, instantly, not even 20 minutes into the movie, she's, wants to fall asleep, wants to go home. And then Mace, my youngest, who's 4, loves all things monkeys, gorillas, every King Kong, everything with Godzilla, King Kong, loves it. We've been to him. And this one, he didn't. He also was like, well, can we go home? Is this over yet? I don't want to watch it.
My family. I will find them. I will bring them home.
And so I get where you're coming from that standpoint. I also was slightly distracted dealing with the children as well when in those situations. So I didn't have the moment to be like, man, this is drawn out. I was engaged with something else. Interesting.
There were a couple aspects that I really liked, specifically 2 characters. The intelligent woman.
I have a name. May.
May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah. Well, she has 2 names in the movie because they start off calling her one thing, which is a throwback to the old character, and then they find out her real name because she starts talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed her character, and again, that relates to military experience, right? So she did what she had to do, and she was kind of deceiving, but for decent reasons.
She had a mission.
Yeah.
Very focused on it.
She was looking to save her people.
Yeah.
And pretty much all people.
Right. Yeah.
But I appreciated her character story around that. So when I also, was that Caesar 2.0, the main character there?
Proximus Caesar?
I guess.
The villain?
No, the good guy.
Noah.
The Noah. Okay.
Yeah. Based on what we know, it's several generations into the future.
But he's clearly related to him.
So there's a lot of speculation, and if you deep dive into the theories online and YouTube and all the different Discord for the different places where you would go for that, a lot of theories on that, a lot of theories on the connection and how that's going to come full circle in the next movie if they do release it. There's supposed to be 9 total. That's their plan, but we'll see if they even greenlight the next one. Not yet greenlit. That's the time of this move of us doing this, as far as I know, but there is no clear connection between them yet, based on the storyline. but everyone's speculating that yes, he is a clear descendant of the original Caesar, and eventually he's going to find that out.
I figure as much. Movies sometimes like to hammer those kinds of things home, or at least lead people down that path of thought so that they can possibly do a plot twist later on.
Yeah.
But that was what I got for my feeling from watching it. But I enjoyed how he was hate everyone but their clan type thing to growing to an appreciation of a different way of thinking.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the main storylines throughout the movie, was him going from a very closed-minded tribal, so like we have very one way of looking at things, to being much more open and accepting even of a human, which to them are echoes, that to their clan are called echoes. Other clans of them knew him as humans, which is like the... Do you remember what they were called? The one that the Raka, the orangutan, belonged to?
Legend says ape and human lived side by side. Impossible as that may seem.
They were the something of Caesar, because they were like the last ones that carried his message, like the truth of his message.
Oh, the dude with the necklace.
Yeah.
Right? So he was like a missionary.
100%. Yeah, they very much. Yeah. In the last trilogy too, they had Maurice, which was Caesar's, like one of Caesar's best friends. They break out of the same shelter together, I guess you would call that, chimpanzee shelter. And they, one of the first two to like really, once Caesar realizes like, not all of these monkeys aren't intelligent, let's make them intelligent. He's one of the first monkeys he makes intelligent with the rest. So they have a long line of orangutans being like this symbol of like knowledge and wisdom, like the story keeper almost, which is what he plays.
Sage.
Yeah. The holders of knowledge. And so that's another thing that's like a thing that plays out through, you know, a lot of the Planet of the Apes, especially this one, is the knowledge is power kind of thing, the dynamic of it, and how it can be corrupted and used to be a tool for evil.
Never.
Much like
Misinformation. Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, let's really quickly just circle back, and for everybody who maybe, hopefully if you're watching this, you know there's going to be plenty of spoilers, and also that you've hopefully seen it already and not just watching this before you see it. But either way, do a quick recap. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a sci-fi genre that is, you know, action drama based. It is set in a post-apocalyptic world where the human society has been almost completely wiped out by a virus. The world has ultimately almost been taken back over, which I think is what adds to some of the coolest effects of this movie. Is, you know, you see them climbing, you know, downtown LA skyscraper, which I believe it's LA, just based on some of the other landmarks that you see, because there's like a Dodger Stadium scene, so I'm figuring it's LA. But anyway, they're climbing these skyscrapers that are just taken back over by nature, completely covered in moss and vines and green. It just looks really cool. But it's supposedly set several generations ahead of, so roughly 300 years is what's speculated, ahead of where the last trilogy left off, which I thought was pretty cool, is that the beginning of this movie really does leave you up at the very end of the last trilogy, because the very beginning of this is the funeral of Caesar. And then it jumps into the future, and we get to see what has happened, and we're trying to figure out, like, whatever happened to Caesar's tribe.
That felt like it was just thrown in there to connect two things that shouldn't have been connected.
So we don't know the true connection yet, I don't think. But it does, I believe, tee it up to show you, to remind us anyway, I don't know, to show us, but to remind us of what Caesar's true message and meaning was before we go into a world where it's been corrupted for, you know, Proximus Caesar's own use.
Apes will learn. Will learn.
I could see that. Yeah.
But yeah, that's just, you know, a quick recap of kind of what the movie is. And they get separated into tribes, and then that's where we get introduced to them, and we get introduced to the Eagle tribe, which is a tribe of chimpanzees, as you mentioned, which is kind of cool. I want to go back real quick before I go there. In Caesar's tribe, in the original trilogy, all apes live together. Gorillas, orangutans, you know, chimpanzees, they all live together in harmony, where, as you notice, like, it's mainly like there's no other types of monkey inside of, or great ape inside of his clan. They're all chimps. So I'm interested to see like where along the lines they started to divert and like really segregate themselves. I'm sure we'll find out in some of the lore as we go on with the later movies if they do release them, but I thought that was interesting. But anyway, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was getting disappointed feelings about the movie. It felt very much like Avatar Way of the Water one. I was so disappointed.
Oh, I loved that movie. Really did.
I was getting a lot of similar type of vibes, like, you know, I hate the word, but they were trying too hard.
Yeah.
That's what I felt throughout the whole movie.
Okay.
Is they wanted to pander to their audience.
So, give me an example of that pandering. Like what? Like, so I'm just confused. I want to see an example. Maybe it'll help me get some clarity. What do you mean by that?
I felt like they had this nice long story, and then they just would randomly add some other element to it. So I did like, the one part that I did really like was looking through the telescope.
Impossible as that may seem.
Okay.
So I feel like that was a bit of a throwback to some of the older versions.
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole premise of Planet of the Apes is very space-based. Right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's what they're doing. Absolutely.
And it's hard for me to even think about right now, because that was so long ago. That
last week.
Yes. It was too long ago, too many different other pieces of entertainment. And I guess my brain was like, you know what? Don't really need to remember much of this.
Yeah, well, that might speak for itself right there, right? Your brain didn't even want to give it the bandwidth. Yeah. Okay. So, what do you think was, so let's first let's talk about some of the characters themselves before we dive into, maybe some of the more development, more growth that stood out to us inside of it. So you have the one clan that we were talking about, which was the Eagle clan, which is what the main protagonist of the whole movie, Noah, comes from. Mm-hmm. He's got two of his buddies that he grew up with. One is the girl that is kind of like his girlfriend. The other's like the buddy who acts tough but is actually really scared of everything, which I thought was a pretty good comic relief for what was going on with everything like that. But you want to add something? No. So I'm not. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't cutting you off. I know I'll talk forever. Then you have those three, which I just mentioned. Then you have his mother, who is like the teacher of the whole clan, kind of like a main educator. I don't know how else to describe it. She would just like take care of the youth, educate, teach the tribe. And then you have the father, who is like the keeper of birds, master of birds, right? And then ultimately, what sends Noah on the vision quest is the character who we find out becomes May, is stealing from them. So she's in the vicinity of their tribe, which brings Proximus Caesar's soldiers to the tribe to go find her, and they just basically wipe out the whole tribe because they're just, evil like that. Which then sends Noah to kill his father, which is a pretty, normal hero's journey type of thing. And then he goes out on his hero's journey.
Well, before they wipe out the tribe, the lead warrior for the Eagle clan, they send him out to go look for the girl.
Yep.
But when he came across the other soldiers, he don't know whether it was unprovoked or not, but he just slaughtered as many as he could. Because they made reference to that. The reason they went to the Eagle clan place was because their one soldier went and attacked the hell out of their people and killed them.
Oh, I missed that.
That's what they mentioned at the beginning, like, he unprovokedly killed us, like killed the others of our stuff. So we need to go find the rest of their tribe and finish this.
Missed it. Okay. Because I was under the impression at the time that they found him and then obviously he fought back. So he killed some of them, but he was ultimately injured, which is why when Noah sees him, he's still alive. Mm-hmm. And then because they found him, and they fought with him, and they know that the girl was in the vicinity, they were going to the village to find more information, is what I thought. Like, to figure out if they knew where the girl was. And then they ended up wiping him out.
Yeah, my understanding was that was revenge for what he had just done.
Could be, yeah. I know that the soldiers that work for Proximus Caesar are very, very sadistic and brainwashed. They have no problem enslaving their own kind, beating their own kind, being very cruel to their own kind. So I just kind of I think I put two and I kind of assumed it. So maybe, very wrong. What do you guys think? What was it? Maybe you heard it a little better than I did, like Liam, and
or I could be wrong too.
Yeah.
I've been wrong before.
It's been known to happen. I did like the whole Roman Empire type situation they had going with Proximus.
Our time. And it is my kingdom. We will learn.
I like him as an actor anyway.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Can't remember his name. He's like one of the side characters for pretty much everything he does, except for the fact he was so good in that. Damn it. The Strain.
It's always the pineapple.
Oh, yeah. He was the rat catcher.
Yep.
New York's rat catcher. I remember that.
He was so good in that.
Yeah. No, he was. Yeah, his character was good.
And I felt like that was the first time I really saw him as the lead.
He's the lead villain in a sci-fi movie. He's like the lead alien of like the race that's hunting them down. There's a couple other ones where he plays a lead. But yeah, I mean, they never make big bucks on it. Like, they never become the big hits.
When I see lead, I mean like the star of the show.
Oh.
That's how I saw him in Strain.
Yes.
He was so good in that. But coming back to this, I like how his character felt the need to study Roman history.
He was obsessed with it.
Yes. And that obsession may have twisted his views quite a bit for his power and control that he was looking for.
Nor bend for your king.
But it was a very smart play to study those who have done things that you want to accomplish prior.
Yeah. That's the best way to get it. Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool and important. I felt the character was important, the human that worked for him.
Yeah.
What's his name? He played the dad in Shameless.
William H. Macy?
Yeah. William H. Macy.
Yes. He was also, one of the pilots on Air Force One.
Okay, I got it.
Wasn't he?
Oh, I don't remember. It's been a minute.
The Harrison Ford one.
Yeah, that's an old movie. I probably couldn't even remember half that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in that. But I enjoyed seeing the weakness in that character from him, but also him having his chance to be like, all right, I am going to make a little bit of a stand here.
Where did he make his stand?
Right before he died.
Yeah.
Right before he died, I felt like he made a stand.
For the apes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a very unique character, and it made sense why he was there, right? Because Proximus had to get that information somehow, so he needed a human who could read.
He was broken.
Yeah. There's a lot of speculation, on exactly where that character comes from, because you get no backstory. You just meet him, and then he's dead. So some people think that he's an astronaut. Some people think he's from another bunker. Some people think that, because it's very rare that you find a human that can speak, right? May was like the only one we knew, and then we get brought back to his camp, and we find that there's another one, and then the movie ends, and we find out there's a shit ton more. So it's like, where does he really come from? What is his true motives? Because if he was kicked out of a bunker, or if he was in a bunker that ran out of food or anything like that, he has every reason to not want to go back and want to live with the apes where he has a pretty good existence. They don't not for nothing, he's living pretty damn good over there. He's got his own human customized room, eats with the freaking boss himself, pretty well liked. Had a good thing going.
The first things that they need to do before they can convert you over is completely tear you down. And then slowly start showing you acts of kindness, where you become almost like this caretaker to them. And because you start showing them abuse, but also a little bit of empathy mixed with that abuse in a structural way, they become devoted. We've seen this throughout all the major conflicts.
Damn. No, I get that, absolutely. I was just saying that in the context of this movie, I get, based on the hypothesis I laid out, whether his bunker ran out of food or he got kicked out of it, it made sense why he made the stand that you had mentioned.
So every time you bring up Bulger, I just keep going back to Fallout.
We all do, right? I mean, every bunker that people enter now is like somehow related to Fallout in my mind for sure. There's like a little Vault Boy Easter egg somewhere sitting in there. That'd be pretty funny if there was. But, probably copyrighted. You'd pay a lot of money to have it in there. But anyway, yeah, so Noah goes on a hero's journey, and one has to, he's like the reluctant hero who becomes the leader. And I think it's kind of interesting that they use the eagle to kind of represent his growth, right? So at first, the eagle freaking cuts him up, wrecks him, doesn't want anything to do with him, but still follows him even after the father dies. Mm-hmm. And then as he grows, probably should have silenced that. As he grows more and more, the eagle gets closer and closer. And then eventually in the end, he's the new master of the eagles. It's pretty cool.
I agree. I thought the whole taking up the father's mantle was very important. And so that's why it had to be that specific eagle.
Yeah, that too.
It was just showing the transition of him going from immature child to full-blown adult and leader of all of them, along with the morals. I like how he questioned himself a lot.
Yeah, very open-minded. And you could tell he was on a journey. He wasn't like a Proximus or even his father who were, very set in their ways, very on a mission already. He was still trying to find his. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I think that added to the growth that we saw too, right? Because we got to see him come from this confused, very loyal, very, honorable young ape, if you will, but still very confused in where he wanted to go because he was living in the shadow of a great man, right? His father.
Help your father!
Yeah. How's this tie to the old ones?
So I'm sure, and I'm going to ask actually everyone who's seen the old ones, drop it in the comments your thoughts on how they connect, because it's been a very long time since I watched the old ones. My dad stopped by last weekend, the day after we had seen it, and I was telling him, I was like, hey, I just went and saw the new Planet of the Apes with the kids. You remember when you and I first watched the original, I think it was the original 3 that we had watched, and then they have so many more after that now, but I watched the original with him, and so I was like, hey, you should go see it. And then we were talking a little bit about the old ones, and there was parts of it like I clearly don't remember that he does because he was much older when he watched it, but the things that I thought really tied back, and that's one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I was going to bring up, but obviously don't want to interrupt you. Whenever they're taking something that's like a classic that's been around since before you and I were ever even born, Dune, this, and they remake it, remaster it for the next generation, or now they have the new technology or whatever it is that they make it again. A lot of times the things that in a normal movie we would say, oh, they're laying really heavy into this because it's going to go somewhere. I find that sometimes when they remake or remaster, they just do that as like an Easter egg, an homage to the fans, to the old one, but it's never part of the plot of the story. It's just there to be that fixture of an Easter egg. An example, in the first 3 new Planet of the Apes movies, the Rise, Dawn, and War, there's many mentions of space.
Space. The final frontier.
The specifically, which is the spacecraft that the very original movie that crashes. So, like, it's an homage to it because it never actually goes anywhere. There's never they get lost in space, and that's the last thing we hear about it. Now, they may, in these next sequence of movies, bring it back and tie it all back in, which they could. But up till now, it's just really been a nod. And then in this last movie, which is what I was going to say before I went into the tangent, when they're before the end of the movie, and even when they first go into the planetarium area, and they're going to that big telescope, there was 2 times that they really held the camera over the astronaut, on the wall. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the movie, you have May looking up at the stars through, like, because the satellites have moved and they're talking now, and she's looking up in the stars. And you have Noah and his little girlfriend, I can't remember her exact name, looking up at the stars. And I think that maybe that's another, like, that's going to be maybe the spacecraft coming in, or it's just another homage to it. Like, that's the thing. Is it because they want to pay respect back to the fact that all the old ones are about space travel and, you know, all these different things, you know, jumping into future? Or is it just, but is it an homage to that, or is it them actually bringing that craft back, and that's where the next movie is going to go? So I almost lost my thought, but I think I finished it.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape!
Yeah. So the oldest version that I saw was the Marky Mark one. I did not watch the originals.
That's not considered canon in the, like, as far as I understand, they don't mention that one when they're talking about, like, the franchise itself. I thought it was a decent movie. I'm not the biggest fan of it, obviously. There's way better ones, but
That's enough.
you know, it's like that Godzilla that they randomly made in the early 2000s, where it laid eggs and had babies, and it was like, what the hell are you doing with this film right now?
I watched that one. That was my first watch of Godzilla.
Yeah, man, you got to stop picking the bad ones to get introduced to. You're like, I'm going to watch the worst in the series.
Well, it's only up from there.
True.
Right?
Nowhere but up to go.
But I don't like watching old stuff, like super old stuff.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even get into those when I was a kid.
Yeah.
My mom and my brother watched the original Planet of the Apes, and that just wasn't something for me.
Yeah. I remember enough of the old movie, right? So they're astronauts. They end up jumping into the future, but they don't know it at the time. They think they're just stranded on an alien planet where apes have been the predominant, you know, species to take over. They meet smart apes. One of them's a scientist, much like the orangutan we meet now. He, like, holds the word of, you know, everything that's going on. I think that's what happened. They get loose. They realize that humans can't speak. They get captured. Like, there's all sorts of things going on. Apes free them.
So from these newer series, which one is your favorite? Does this even line up with the best of the new ones?
No, not yet. So Rise, like, the last trilogy was phenomenal. Like Rise, Dawn, and War. Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought they were phenomenal. I thought they were very well done. And that right there is still, like, my favorite. And of those three, I think War, the very last one, I think was just great.
That one got me really choked up.
Yeah. Scott.
But I liked Rise because I liked the origin.
I thought, because that was the first time we ever figured out the origin, right? Like, that was the introduction to the storyline, the canon of how this all happened. Mm-hmm. And I thought they did a great job at that, for sure. That was a really good movie. But again, I liked it when there was more ape, less human, and, like, we started to see the real, I guess I would consider War the real dawn, because, like, it's when humans really start falling off, and it's like they really take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Would you watch this one again?
I'm gonna have to, because there's definitely some things that I believe I missed, especially watching with 3 young kids in the theater. You know, I think we got up twice to go to the bathroom, who was tired, blah, 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 all those things. But I mean, I'm a big fan of fantasy world building. I'm a big fan of these long, epic, you know, 9 movie genres, like, or sagas, I should call, not genres. So yeah, I'm probably going to end up watching it again. I'm probably going to end up, you know, owning them all. Would we watch it again?
Yes.
Yeah.
You said you'd have to watch it again. I said no.
Yeah.
Not unless they have some weird tie-in with the next movie where you need to refresh. I think that's the only way I'd ever rewatch that again.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it was entirely too slow. I think this is another example of they could have pulled it off way better with a series.
Okay. Fair enough. Let us know in the comments what you guys thought, what your opinion is. Would you see it again? What do you think? What do you think of the character growth? I definitely enjoyed Noah's story. I think that it was long, like you said. There were definitely moments that I enjoyed, but on the whole, yeah, just a little bit too drawn out. Maybe a little bit more next time. But anyway, that's our opinion, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take us out.
Bye. Gotta make it awkward.
Can't we all just get along?